Hello everyone and welcome to Daily News Simplified, an answer to what, why and how of newspaper reading. Today, we shall be analyzing the Hindu newspaper dated 6th of January 2019 of the New Delhi edition. Today's news analysis shall be covered in two parts, wherein this part will be covered by me and the other part shall be covered by my colleague Mr. Naveed sir. The topics to be discussed today has been presented on your screen. Time-stamping for the same has been provided in the description box below. Let us begin with our today's news discussion. This news has been taken from page 10 of the section 2 of Hindu newspaper and it is pertaining to the dance drama genre known as Lakhon Khol, which belongs to Cambodia. This news will form a part under the section of History of India and Indian National Movement with respect to prelims, and it also forms a part under Indian Heritage and Culture and GS paper 1 with respect to mains. Now Lakhon Khol has been recently added into the Intangible Cultural Heritage list by UNESCO, and it will be important to note here that Lakhon Khol is a kind of a tradition of masked dance which is happening in Cambodia. Therefore, in light of this current development, we are going to understand two important things pertaining to this news. Firstly, we are going to discuss the historical background along with some key features pertaining to Lakhon Khol. And then we are going to discuss in brief some of the masked dances that are prevalent in India. Now, before jumping to our article, let us try and establish the relevance of this topic. So, as we already know, the genre of art and drama has been a recurrent theme in both preliminary and mains examination pertaining to history. And it is in this sense that constantly in the years 2018, 2017, 2014, we have been asked questions pertaining to regional dramas, music, dance, etc. An important point I would like you all to notice is that whenever we are getting any specific festival or dance and drama tradition which is regional, for example, in the year 2018, we had very specific festivals and musical traditions such as the Chapcharkut, Khongjom Parba, Thangta dance, etc. Similarly, in the year 2014, we had a very specific question on a tradition known as Kalari Payattu. And from both these questions, that is from 2014 and 2018, we can identify that UPSC is mostly focusing on the areas of the dominance of these regional festivals or dances, or we need to have some basic idea about what any particular regional tradition is all about. For instance, in the question of the year 2018, we just need to identify the places wherein these different festivals and dances are performed. Similarly, in the year 2014, since Kalari Payattu is a very specific cultural tradition, we just need to identify that it is associated with what kind of cultural activity. However, if UPSC is dealing with dominant cultural traditions which are again and again in the forefront of news and other topics, then we get a much more detailed question. For example, in the year 2017, we have been asked 3 statements pertaining to Manipuri Sankirtana. And now since Manipuri Sankirtana is such an intrinsic part of our culture, hence as expected, we get a much more detailed question containing 3 statements. So from the example of these 3 questions, the point that I want to make is that whenever there is a regional or very specific cultural tradition which is asked in UPSC, then we get a very direct and factual question. However, if we are dealing with some recurrent themes such as the classical dances or folk music, which is much more popular than another regional traditions, then we can expect a more elaborate question. Now, Lakhon Khol is basically a mass dance and it is considered to be the classical theatre form from Cambodia. It will be important to note that the historical development of this dance can be attributed to the 9th century and the same can be identified from the bas-reliefs or sculptures that are prevalent on Angkor Wat temple and its walls. Also, the 9th century was the period of the early Angkor era in Cambodia. Now, during the period of 1950s and 1960s, a rival political group known as Khmer Rouge overthrew the existing government in Cambodia, and this Khmer Rouge who then came to power and started persecuting the artists belonging to the Lakhon Khol tradition. And it is due to this that this art form was deteriorating and has recently been revived by the efforts of government, local citizens, activists, etc. Now, with respect to the unique features of Lakhon Khol, we must know that this dance is considered to be an entirely male version of the Khmer classical court dance. By this we mean that it is performed only by males. Apart from this, the performances of Lakhon Khol also include storytelling, which is accompanied by a traditional orchestra known as Pinpeat. Now, the final aspect of Lakhon Khol dance are the major themes that are performed in it. Now, this dance mainly illustrates the localized versions of the Indian epic Ramayana. And it is in this respect that this dance is going to be important for us with respect to UPSC, since there is a relation between this dance and Indian art and culture. Also, the localized version of Indian epic Ramayana is known as Rimker in Cambodia. It will be important to note here that a mass dance similar to Lakhon Khol is prevalent in Thailand and is known as the Khon Mask Theatre. The Thailand version also illustrates themes depicting Ramayana, and Ramayana is known as Ramakien in Thailand. Now, since Lakhon Khol is a dance involving masks, let us quickly discuss some of the important dances in India which includes the use of masks. So the first dance is going to be Chham, and it is prevalent in the north and northeastern part of India. It will be important to note that the Chham mask dance is performed at the Hemis Gompa along with the Stock Monastery at different times of the year, and both these monasteries are located in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, as we already know, Chhau is a very famous mask dance belonging to India, and under it we have three different varieties. Now, the Purulia Chhau belonging to the area of West Bengal is again a mask dance, and the masks used in this dance are fashioned to look like fierce gods and their animal vehicles. And it is due to these fierce looking masks that the Purulia Chhau performance is very dramatic in nature. Another form of Chhau is the Saraikela Chhau, performed in the state of Jharkhand, wherein unlike Purulia Chhau, the masks used by the dancers are very human looking masks that appear to be relatively simple. Another form of mask dance is the Mukha Bhavna, which is performed in the state of Assam, particularly on the Majuli Island. In the Mukha Bhavna, we have three types of masks that are used during the performance, known as Mukha masks, Lotokai masks, etc. Coming to the mask dance belonging to South India, we have Therukuthu from the state of Tamil Nadu, and in this dance, partial face masks are worn by the actor. In Karnataka, we have the Somana Kunitha, wherein the dancers wear elaborate masks made of red sandalwood. The final important mask dance in India is from the region of Kerala, and it is known as Padayani. And in this dance, masks are given very much importance as masks are considered to be embodiments of the temple's mother goddess. So unlike other dances, herein the importance of mask is more religious. Also, the mask made by the Padayani dancers is perishable and is made of areca palms. So with this, we have completed the discussion on this article. Let us go back and try and answer our previous year questions. Now, the first question is from 2018, wherein we need to discuss that which tradition belongs to which state. So the final answer for this question is going to be option B, that is Chhapchar Kut festival belongs to the state of Mizoram, and the tradition of Khongjom Parba belongs to the state of Manipur. However, the tradition of Thangta dance does not belong to Sikkim, rather it belongs to Manipur. Hence, this pair is going to be incorrect. So our final answer for this question is going to be option B. Now coming to the question from the year 2017, we are given three statements pertaining to Manipuri Sankirtana, and herein the final answer is again going to be option B, because Manipuri Sankirtana is a combination of a song and dance performance. Also, the major theme of Manipuri Sankirtana is to narrate the lives and deeds related to Lord Krishna. It will be important to note here that in statement 2, all those symbols are an intrinsic musical instrument pertaining to Manipuri Sankirtana. However, they are not the only musical instrument. Hence, our final answer here is going to be option B, that is statement 1 and 3 are correct. Coming to the final question from the year 2014, herein we need to identify that what do we mean by the term Kalari Payattu. So the final answer for this question is going to be option D, that is Kalari Payattu is a form of martial art and is also a living tradition in some parts of India, particularly in Kerala. So therefore, a final answer for this question is going to be option D. Now with respect to the information that we've already discussed, please try and answer this practice question and we'll solve it after 5 seconds. Now in this question, there are two statements pertaining to Lakhon Khol and we need to identify that which among them are correct. Now the first statement says that it is a musical tradition of Thailand. This is going to be an incorrect statement, as firstly Lakhon Khol is not a musical tradition, rather it is a dance drama tradition. Also, Lakhon Khol does not belong to Thailand, rather it belongs to Cambodia. Coming to the second statement, it says that Lakhon Khol is inspired from the epic of Ramayana. This is going to be a correct statement, as we know that the major themes in the Lakhon Khol dance includes the tales from the localized version of Ramayana prevalent in Cambodia. So therefore, our final answer is going to be option B. That is, only the second statement is correct. With this, we have completed the discussion on this news. Let us move on to the next one. This article has been taken from page 2 of the section 2 of Hindu newspaper, and it will be covered under the section of History of India and Indian National Movement with respect to prelims, and it also forms a part under GS paper 1 under Indian Heritage and Culture with respect to means. Now, according to this article, a new temple is being sculpted in a fashion similar to the Kailash temple located in Ellora, and this new temple is being sculpted completely out of a hill of granite named as Yadagiri Gutta located in Telangana. So therefore, in this respect, we are going to understand two important things pertaining to this article. Firstly, we are going to discuss some key features pertaining to this temple constructed on the Yadagiri Gutta hill, and secondly, since this temple is based on the fashion of the Kailash temple located in Ellora, we are also going to discuss some basic details pertaining to the Kailasa temple. Now, with respect to this article, we can see that both the temples, that is the newly constructed temple in Yadagiri Gutta and the Kailasa temple in Ellora, belong to the class of rock cut architecture. And rock cut architecture in the context of art and culture forms an important part with respect to both prelims and mains. We can see that in the years 2017 and 2013, we have encountered questions pertaining to the rock cut architecture of India and other cultural elements such as paintings that are found in these rock cut architectures. Therefore, looking at these previous year questions, we can easily identify that this article is of relevance for us. So let us first understand this article and then we'll come back and try and answer these previous year questions. Now, this newly constructed temple is located near Warangal on the hilltop of Yadagiri Gutta. It will be important to note that this temple is the brainchild of K.C. Rao, who is currently serving as the Chief Minister of Telangana. And apart from this, the chief deity of this temple is going to be Lakshmi Narasimha Swami. It will be interesting to note here that the hilltop of Yadagiri Gutta already contains a small cave temple which is dedicated again to Narasimha Swami. And it also contains a rock carving of Hanuman. We must also know that this ancient structure has not been touched while constructing this new temple. Now, coming to the features of Lakshmi Narasimha temple, the construction material used in this temple is granite, and with respect to the architecture of this temple, we find a 7-story structure which is located at the Rajagopuram. By Rajagopuram, we mean a pyramidal tower which is located at the entrance of a temple. Apart from this, a gold Sudarshan Chakra will be put as a finial in this temple. By finial, we mean an ornament which is placed at the top of a building or an object. Interesting is an image of Alvar, who is considered to be a Vaishnavite saint, and his image is entirely carved out of a monolithic block. Apart from this image of Alvar, we find 12 more statues which are located in the mandapa of this temple. With respect to the influences that this temple bore, as we have already discussed, since this temple is carved from a hilltop, namely the Yadagiri Gutta, it can be said that its technique of construction is in a fashion similar to that of Kailash temple located in Ellora. Apart from this, as we have already discussed, that this temple is located near Warangal, which was a seat of power of the Kakatiya dynasty, and hence it is in this context that the sculptures that will be put in this temple have tried to incorporate the similar techniques that were used in creating Kakatiya sculptures. Now, the uniqueness of the Kakatiya sculptures stand in the fact that even a paper can pass behind a dancing figurine, which suggests that the work done on Kakatiya sculptures was very exquisite. And the same technique will be incorporated in this newly constructed Lakshmi Narasimha temple. So with this, we have understood the main aspects pertaining to this temple. Now let us quickly understand some basic features of the Kailash temple which bears influence on the construction of Lakshmi Narasimha temple. Now the Kailash temple is located in cave 16 of the Ellora caves, and it is considered to be one of the largest rock cut temples in India. The unique feature of Kailash temple located at Ellora is that unlike Buddhist temples which were carved from bottom to top, Kailash temple serves as a unique example because it is carved from top to bottom. It will be important to note that the construction of this temple began under the Rashtrakuta king Dantidurg, who was also the founder of this dynasty, around 8th century AD. However, the major development of Kailash temple was done under Krishnavan, who is considered to be the successor of Dantidurg. The main architectural features of Kailash temple include a Nandi Mandapa. Apart from this, the temple has a Dravidian type of shikhar, and we also find the existence of intricately carved panels which depict the stories from epics, that is Ramayana and Mahabharata, along with stories of the life of Lord Krishna. Another important architectural feature is the presence of 5 shrines which are dedicated to river goddesses, and these 3 goddesses are Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. Also, with respect to the Ellora caves, we must know that they are located in Maharashtra and there are 34 caves in total in Ellora caves. We must also know that Ellora caves contains temples belonging to 3 different faiths, which includes Buddhist, Hindu and Jain. So with this, we have completed the discussion on this article. Let us go back to our previous year questions and solve them. Now the first question has been taken from the year 2017, and herein we need to identify that which among the following caves illustrate the painting of Bodhisattva Padmapani. So the final answer for this question is going to be Ajanta caves, that is option A. The second question has been taken from the year 2013, and herein we are given 3 statements with respect to the Indian rock cut architecture, and we need to identify that which among them are correct. So the final answer for this question is going to be option C, that is only the third statement is correct. The first statement says that the caves at Badami are the oldest surviving rock cut caves in India. This is going to be an incorrect statement, as the Barabar rock cut caves are considered to be the oldest surviving rock cut caves in India. Coming to the second statement, it says that the Barabar rock cut caves were originally made for the Ajivikas by Emperor Chandragupta Maurya. This is again going to be an incorrect statement, because although the Barabar rock cut caves were dedicated to Ajivikas, they were not built by Chandragupta Maurya, rather they were built by Ashoka. Coming to the third statement, it says that at Ellora, caves were made of different faiths. We have just discussed it, that we find caves of Hindu, Buddhist and Jain faith at Ellora. So this is going to be a correct statement. Hence, our final answer will be option C, that is only the third statement is correct. Now, in light of the information which we have just discussed, please try and solve this practice question, which we are going to answer in 5 seconds. Now, according to this question, we need to identify the dynasty which bore influence on the sculptures that will be put up in the Lakshmi Narasimha temple. So the final answer for this question is going to be option B, that is the Kakatiyas, whose technique of making sculptures is being incorporated in the Lakshmi Narasimha temple as well. Hence, our final answer would be option B for this question. The next article has been taken from page 13 of part 1, The Hindu, and it will be covered under the section of History of India and Indian National Movement with respect to prelims, and it also forms a part under Indian Heritage and Culture with respect to mains. Now this article is dealing with the ruins of a monument known as Phuti Masjid, and this article also sheds light upon the ruler who built it, that is Sarfaraz Khan. In this respect, we are going to understand 2 important things from this article. Firstly, we'll discuss some basic details pertaining to this monument known as Phuti Masjid, and secondly, we are going to discuss the profile of the ruler Sarfaraz Khan who made this masjid. Now students, I would like you to focus on this one point. In the recent trend of UPSC, we can see that there is a shift from asking questions on monuments which are very famous, such as the Humayun's tomb, Red Fort, etc. Rather, the focus these days is on lesser known monuments such as the Bada Imambara, Ibadat Khana, etc. In this respect, I would like you to keep in mind that the articles of this author Rana Safvi will be very important from the preliminary perspective, as she generally covers monumental architecture of lesser known monuments in India. In fact, a question that had appeared in the prelims of 2018 that was concerning the monuments of Bada Imambara, Buland Darwaza, Rumi Darwaza, etc. was directly covered in an article given by Rana Safvi. The entire concept behind formulating these kind of questions has already been discussed by me in the DNS dated 28th October, and hence taking cues from these questions, we can identify that the lesser known monuments such as the Bada Imambara, or in this case the Phuti Masjid, are equally important from the perspective of UPSC. So let us first understand our article and then we'll come back and try and answer our previous year question. Now, Phuti Masjid is located in Murshidabad, West Bengal, and it was built by Sarfaraz Khan, who was the grandson of Murshid Quli Khan. Herein, it will be important to note that Murshid Quli Khan was the founder of Murshidabad city, and he was also the founder of the Nasiri dynasty. Now, the Phuti Masjid is considered to be one of the largest mosques located in Murshidabad, and there are two legends that go behind the construction of Phuti Masjid. According to one interesting legend, it is said that the entire complex was built in one day by Sarfaraz Khan. However, the another legend says that many workers took months of time to construct this masjid. Now, with respect to the features incorporated in the Phuti Masjid, we find the presence of 4 cupolas at its corners. By cupolas, we mean tall structures which are located on a top of a building, and they are often shaped like a dome. Apart from this, it will be interesting to note that out of the total 5 planned domes, only 2 were completed. The most important thing we must know is that Phuti Masjid is an unfinished mosque wherein the construction was left in between as the builder, that is Sarfaraz Khan, died very soon after the construction of this mosque began. And it is due to this incomplete structure that the name Phuti Masjid was given to it. Apart from Phuti Masjid, the structure is also known as Forty Masjid, wherein the term fort stands for death. So with this, we have understood the basic details pertaining to the Phuti Masjid. Let us move forward and understand the profile of the ruler who built it, that is Sarfaraz Khan. Now, Sarfaraz Khan, as we have just discussed, was the successor of Murshid Quli Khan, and he ascended to the throne in the year 1739. The title he took after ascending the throne is Alauddin Haider Jung. It will be important to note here that Sarfaraz Khan's rule lasted for only 1 year, and after a lot of political instability and disturbances, he was defeated by Ali Vardi Khan in the Battle of Giriya in the year 1740. The battle also resulted in the death of Sarfaraz Khan. So from here we can easily understand that the early death and the short-lasting rule of Sarfaraz Khan was the reason behind the incomplete construction of Phuti Masjid. The article also mentions name of a book known as Munsad of Murshidabad, wherein the Battle of Giriya, the reign of Sarfaraz Khan, and the period of political instability has been discussed in this book. And this book is authored by P.C. Majumdar. So with this, we have completed the discussion on this article. Let us go back to our previous year question and try and answer it. Now, this question from 2018 contains 2 statements pertaining to monuments belonging to medieval India, and we need to identify that which among them are correct. So the final answer for this question is going to be option A, that is only the first statement is correct. Let us read them one by one. The first statement says that white marble was used in the making of Buland Darwaza and Khanka at Fatehpur Sikri. This is going to be a correct statement as we find the use of marble in both these monuments. Coming to the second statement, it says that red sandstone and marble were used in making Bada Imambara and Rumi Darwaza at Lucknow. This is going to be an incorrect statement as we do not find the use of red sandstone or marble. Rather, there was use of brick-lime plaster and stucco ornamentation found in these monuments, which separates them from the other monuments. Hence, our final answer for this question is going to be option A, that is only the first statement is correct. Now, with respect to the information which we have just discussed, please try and solve this practice question, which we are going to discuss after 5 seconds. Now, this question contains 2 statements pertaining to the Phuti Masjid, and we need to identify that which among them are correct. Now, the first statement says that Phuti Masjid is an incomplete mosque located in Murshidabad. This is going to be a correct statement as we have just discussed that it is an incomplete mosque and it is located in Murshidabad, and it is considered to be one of the largest mosques in Murshidabad. Hence, this statement is correct. Now, the second statement says that it was built by the grandson of Ali Vardi Khan. This is going to be an incorrect statement because Phuti Masjid was built by Sarfaraz Khan, who is the grandson of Murshid Quli Khan, not Alivardi Khan. Therefore, this statement will be incorrect. So, our final answer would be option A, that is only the first statement is correct. The next news has been taken from page 10, part 2 of the Hindu newspaper, and it will form a part under the section of environment and ecology along with general science with respect to prelims, and this topic also forms a part under GS paper 3 with respect to mains. Now this article in its crux is discussing the possibility of genetically modifying a crop in order to enhance its growth. Now, owing to its focus area, that is genetical modification of crops, this article then introduces us to a successful story of the researchers from the University of Illinois who have successfully increased the size of tobacco plants by 40%, and this is done with the help of genetic modification. It is expected that the technique used in increasing these tobacco plants will be later applied to crops such as soybeans or wheat that will be helpful in meeting the food requirements of mankind. Now, apart from discussing the success story of the researchers from the University of Illinois, this article also sheds light upon two scientific processes known as carbon fixation along with the process of photorespiration, as these two processes appear during the processes of genetic modification. Therefore, after understanding the context of the article, we are going to focus upon three important areas. Firstly, we'll discuss in brief so as to why do we need genetic modification. Apart from this, we are going to discuss two concepts of carbon fixation and the process of photorespiration, which are involved in the process of genetic modification. Now, it will be important to note here that with respect to the preliminary examination of UPSC, the concept of genetic modification has been a recurrent theme, and we find many questions based on this concept. For example, in the year 2018 itself, we got a question dealing with the genetically modified mustard that was developed in India. Therefore, taking cues from this question, we can easily identify that this topic is of relevance for us. So let us first understand some key features of this article, and then we'll come back and try and answer this question. Now let us first understand the facts so as to why do we need genetic modification. The first and foremost reason that increases the need of genetic modification is that the global demand for agricultural production has been constantly increasing, whereas the productivity of crops on the other hand is decreasing. Apart from this, farmers are unable to yield significant gains by the use of fertilizers and pesticides. And hence, it is in this context that genetic modification can be seen as an intervention. Now, with respect to the current context of this article, we have already understood that the researchers from the University of Illinois have claimed to have genetically modified the tobacco plant by increasing its size by 40%. Now, the question that should come to our mind is that what were the processes involved in genetically modifying it? So, in order to answer it, the article tells us that the scientists are claiming that in order to genetically modify a plant, they have found a way in which they will make photosynthesis as a process more efficient. And by photosynthesis, we mean the conversion of carbon dioxide into water and energy by the help of sunlight done by plants. Now, in order to understand that how the scientists have been able to make photosynthesis more efficient as a process, we will understand two important terms, that is carbon fixation and photorespiration. Now, the binding factor between the processes of carbon fixation and photorespiration is an enzyme known as rubisco. Now, this enzyme rubisco can perform two separate functions wherein it can convert atmospheric carbon into organic compounds which are consumed by a plant that may increase its growth. On the other hand, this enzyme rubisco also acts to fix atmospheric oxygen. However, unlike the converted atmospheric carbon, this atmospheric oxygen is converted into toxic compounds rather than organic compounds, because of which a plant have to spend considerable amount of energy in order to remove these toxins. So from this, we can understand that when the rubisco enzyme is converting atmospheric carbon into organic compound, this process is known as carbon fixation. However, when the same rubisco is fixing the atmospheric oxygen, it is then converted into toxic compounds, and this process is known as photorespiration. Now, after understanding the definitions of carbon fixation and photorespiration, we can easily understand that the process of photorespiration hinders the growth of a plant, and it is in this respect that the scientists of Illinois introduced bits of algae DNA into the tobacco plant cells, which helped in speeding up the process of photorespiration, that is removing toxins by creating a biological shortcut, and this in turn helped in increasing the size of the tobacco plant by 40%. So in its finality, now we can understand that the Rubisco enzyme, which when fixes atmospheric oxygen, creates toxic compounds in the plants which hinders their growth, and it is in this respect that the researchers of the Illinois University genetically modified a tobacco plant as an experiment by introducing bits of algae DNA, which helped in speeding up the process of photorespiration, thereby increasing the plant size by 40%. So with this, we have completed the discussion on this news. Let us go back to our previous year question and try and answer it. Now this question from 2018 is pertaining to the genetically modified mustard which was developed in India, and we need to identify that which among these three statements are correct. Now let us start with the third statement. It says that GM mustard has been developed jointly by IARI and Punjab Agricultural University. This is going to be an incorrect statement because the GM mustard was not developed by the Punjab Agricultural University and IARI, rather it was developed under Delhi University. So after understanding the third statement itself by the method of elimination, we can see that only the second statement is going to be correct, which is our final answer. That is, GM mustard has the genes that allow cross-pollination and hybridization. Therefore, our final answer is going to be option B. Now, in light of the information which we have just discussed, please try and solve this practice question, which we are going to discuss after 5 seconds. Now, according to this question, we need to explain the meaning of the term Rubisco, which is recently seen in the news. So, the final answer for this question is going to be option B. That is, Rubisco is an enzyme which is involved in the process of carbon fixation. Hence, our final answer is going to be option B. The next news has been taken from page 14, part 1 of the Hindu, and it will be covered under the section of environment and ecology with respect to prelims, and it also forms a part under GS paper 3 with respect to mains. Now, according to this article, scientists have recently discovered a well-preserved fossil of large leaves known as Dioscorea, and it has been found from a mine located in Bikaner, Rajasthan. And this mine belongs to the Eocene era, which is considered to be 38 to 56 million years ago. It will be important to note here that this discovery of Dioscorea yam leaf has given deep insights into the climatic conditions in the state of Rajasthan. Therefore, in this respect, we are going to understand two important things in this article. Firstly, we'll discuss some basic details pertaining to the fossil of Dioscorea. And secondly, we are going to discuss the climatic conditions that are determined after examining this fossil. So let's move forward. Now the fossil that has been found from the mines of Bikaner belongs to a species of Dioscorea which is 16 centimeter long in size. Now by Dioscorea, we mean a kind of yam which grows on a herbaceous vine, and it is generally found in the humid tropics of India, along with other countries. It will be important to note here that this discovery made in Bikaner is the first ever Dioscorea fossil recorded from Asia. Now let us discuss that what does this discovery of the Dioscorea fossil have to say about the climatic conditions that were prevailing in the area of Rajasthan during the Eocene era. So as we have already discussed, that Dioscoreas are generally found in an area which has a humid environment. And it is due to this reason that the team who discovered this fossil suggested that the western part of Rajasthan might have been a part of flourishing tropical forests during the early Eocene era. Now this inference is very important for us, as we can see that the estimation of having tropical forests in Rajasthan is exactly opposite to what we are seeing currently in Rajasthan. that is arid and semi-arid areas. In order to justify their inference that some parts of Rajasthan might have been tropical forests, the researchers further stated that when the Indian subcontinent disintegrated from the supercontinent of Gondwana land, it drifted towards the equator that had resulted in tropical forests as a result of tropical weather. In fact, other fossils of plants that have been discovered from the same mine also confirm the fact that the climate of Rajasthan in some parts might have been tropical. Now, after understanding this information, the question that we might have in our mind is what caused the environment of Rajasthan to be like this today, that is dry and arid. So on this note, the researchers further suggested that the landmass might have later moved away from the equator, because of which dry vegetation started dominating the scenario. Lastly, the scientists who have discovered the Dioscorea fossil claim it to be of Gondwanan origin. So with this, we have completed the discussion on this news. Please try and solve this practice question pertaining to this news, which we'll solve after 5 seconds. Now this question contains two statements and we need to identify that which among them are correct. The first statement says that the discovery of Dioscorea in Rajasthan suggests that this land might have been a tropical forest. This is going to be a correct statement, as we've just discussed that Dioscorea are only found in the humid tropic areas, and hence the discovery of this fossil suggests that some parts of Rajasthan might have flourished as tropical forests. Now the second statement says that Dioscorea are generally found in dry environments. This is going to be an incorrect statement, as we have emphasized enough that these kind of yams only flourish in the humid tropics areas. Therefore, our final answer is going to be option A, that is only the first statement is correct. With this, we have come to an end of today's news discussion. Let us move on for the question of the day.